Title: The Alien Queen Whispered, So the Stories Were True. You Are the Human of Legend. Part 1. Arrival and Rumors. Captain Elias Ward stared out of his cockpit at the endless stretch of stars. His ship, a sleek human scout-class vessel, moved silently through the void, gliding between asteroids that glimmered like broken crystals. This was a part of the galaxy humans had never fully explored, a system so mysterious that alien races whispered about it as if it were sacred. The mission was simple: reconnaissance. But Elias knew better. No mission involving humans was ever simple. The human name had become legendary across many star systems. Wherever humans went, stories of their daring and courage followed. Some believed the stories were exaggerations. Others feared them, and now, unknown to Elias, the aliens of this system were watching. He adjusted the controls, guiding his ship through a dense asteroid belt. The sensors beeped softly, warning of unstable rock formations. Elias's fingers danced over the controls with practiced ease. He had spent years navigating hostile space, surviving storms, pirates, and rogue satellites. Yet this mission felt different. There was a strange weight in the silence of the stars, as if the system itself were waiting. Suddenly, the sensors picked up movement, a fleet of alien scouts, their sleek ships glowing faint blue. Elias straightened in his seat. He knew he should be cautious. Most alien races would attack on sight, yet these ships did not move aggressively. Instead, they hovered, observing. "Interesting," Elias muttered. He activated the comm system, broadcasting a universal greeting. "I am Captain Elias Ward of the United Earth Fleet. I come in peace." There was a pause, longer than any communication should have. Then, a voice came through, not spoken in words he could understand, but in thoughts, directly into his mind. "You are different." Elias froze. The feeling was unlike anything he had encountered. These aliens could communicate mentally. But more than that, they seemed hesitant, almost respectful. He tried to respond, unsure if they would understand his thoughts. "I am just a scout. I mean no harm." The mental voice returned, fragmented but clear. "Not just a scout, human. Stories." "True." Elias frowned. "Stories? What stories?" The scouts darted ahead, clearing a path through the asteroid belt. Without understanding why, Elias followed them. Every instinct told him to be cautious, yet curiosity pushed him forward. Hours passed as he traveled through narrow channels of space. Finally, the scouts stopped at the edge of a massive orbital structure. A city suspended above a glowing planet. It was unlike anything human eyes had seen. Towers of crystal spiraled into space. Bridges of light connected floating platforms. Ships of every shape and size glided effortlessly through the air. And above it all, a single spire reached higher than the rest, glowing faintly with a golden light. Elias's breath caught in his throat. The alien capital was breathtaking. But more than beauty, it exuded power. He felt small in its shadow, and somehow, he knew that the ruler of this world, the Queen, was aware of his arrival. A transmission came through his ship's comms. This time, the voice was clearer, though still unspoken. "You are expected." Elias swallowed hard. The words were simple, yet heavy with meaning. He had heard of alien leaders before, but never one who summoned humans personally. The legends were true. Humans had become myths in the galaxy. Some said humans could survive impossible odds, solve problems no alien could, and fight with courage beyond reason. Elias had never thought of himself as a legend, just a pilot doing his duty. But the aliens clearly thought differently. He guided his ship down toward the planet, feeling the gravity tug at the hull. The landing platform was smooth and bright, welcoming yet imposing. As the ramp extended, Elias stepped onto the alien surface. The air was breathable, though tinged with a faint metallic scent. He looked around, taking in the alien guards, tall and elegant, with shimmering skin that reflected light like glass. They did not speak, Instead, they moved in perfect harmony, escorting him through corridors of crystal and light. Elias kept his hands visible, showing he meant no harm, yet the whispers in his mind continued. Human, the one of legend. Finally, he arrived at a vast chamber. The ceiling was high, and light flowed in from above, casting rainbow reflections across the floor. At the far end, sitting on a throne of living crystal, was the queen. She radiated authority, every movement precise, yet graceful. Her skin shimmered like liquid gold, and her eyes were deep pools of knowledge and curiosity. Elias felt a strange mix of awe and fear. The queen spoke, not in words, but through thoughts that touched his mind. So, the stories were true. Elias blinked. I don't know what you mean. Her mental voice was calm, measured, yet powerful. You are the human of legend. The one our historians have whispered about for centuries. The one who would appear when the galaxy needed proof of humanity's greatness. Elias staggered. He had never imagined such a thing. Humans were resourceful, yes, courageous, sometimes reckless, but legends? I'm just a pilot, he thought, trying to push the weight of expectation from his mind. The queen tilted her head, studying him. Do not feign humility, human. Your actions precede you. Your species is known for cleverness, courage, and unpredictability, and now, you have arrived. Elias swallowed again. He could feel the weight of countless eyes, alien historians, guards, scholars watching him. Every step he had taken in life had led him here. Yet the moment felt surreal. What does the queen want from me? He wondered. The queen's mental voice returned, softer this time. For now, simply prove yourself worthy of being here. Later, the galaxy will need your courage. Before Elias could respond, the alarms in the city blared. Red lights flashed, and the floor trembled. The queen's eyes narrowed. Trouble. Rivals have arrived. Elias instinctively reached for his ship communicator. I can help. Tell me what's happening. The queen's thoughts were sharp and urgent. A faction seeks to take control of my empire. They will not hesitate to kill. You must act. Elias's heart raced. He had trained for combat, but never on such a scale. He looked at the queen, then at the crystal city around them. His instincts screamed danger, yet a strange confidence filled him. Humans had survived impossible odds before. Perhaps this was another test. All right, he thought. Let's see if the stories are true. The alien guards moved forward, leading him to a command center filled with holographic screens. Aliens rushed to their stations, monitoring ships approaching from the system's edge. The rival faction's fleet was massive, dark, and menacing, moving with purpose toward the planet. Elias studied the displays. He recognized some tactics, some ships' formations, and some weaknesses in their approach. Humans had always been clever, able to find solutions others could not. Perhaps he could do the same here. The queen watched silently. Her gaze was steady, almost challenging. Elias knew she expected something extraordinary. He tapped on the holographic controls, rerouting defensive drones, opening hidden escape routes, and sending signals to alert allied ships in orbit. The aliens around him watched in astonishment. They had never seen a human operate technology so efficiently, combining instinct with logic, improvisation with strategy. As the enemy fleet drew closer, Elias took a deep breath. He could hear the whispered thoughts of the aliens around him. The human. Can it be? Elias smiled faintly. He did not feel like a legend, yet the galaxy already believed he was one. Perhaps it was time to show them why. The first wave of enemy ships fired, the city shook, and the lights flickered. Yet Elias's calculations held. Drones intercepted projectiles, shields adapted, and alien defenders moved with coordinated precision. The human pilot had turned the tide in moments that could have been catastrophic. The queen leaned forward, her thoughts sharp and focused. Perhaps the legends are true. Elias looked out at the stars. The enemy ships still advancing. He knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had expected humans to be clever, courageous, and unstoppable. And now he would prove it. For the first time, Elias felt the weight of his reputation and the possibility of living up to it. And somewhere deep in the heart of the alien empire, the whispers began to spread. The human of legend has arrived. Title: The Alien Queen whispered. So the stories were true. You are the human of legend. Part 2. The Queen's Court. The alien city glimmered beneath the twin suns. But inside the Queen's palace, the light was soft, warm, and golden. Captain Elias Ward followed the silent crystal guards through long corridors, his boots echoing faintly against the polished floor. Every corner, every hall, reflected light in ways that made the place feel alive, almost breathing. It was beautiful, but it was also intimidating. He was in the heart of an empire that had spanned the stars for centuries. Finally, he was led to a grand chamber. The walls were made of living crystal, shifting subtly, reflecting his own image in fractured patterns. At the center, sitting on her throne, was Queen Cyrillith. She was taller than most humans, her form elegant, almost regal, and her skin glimmered like gold under the soft lights. Her eyes were deep, filled with intelligence, and a curiosity that made Elias uneasy. She looked at him directly, not with hostility, but with a calm authority that seemed to measure his soul. He straightened, unsure of how to respond. He was a human among beings who had watched his species from afar, studying humans like scientists observe a rare creature, and now they had called him here personally. The Queen's thoughts touched his mind. Human, your presence is expected. I have waited long for one such as you. Elias swallowed. I'm just a pilot. I don't understand why I am here. Do not be modest, she replied. Your species has become legend. Tales of humans' courage, cunning, and unpredictability have traveled far across the galaxy. You are the human of legend. He shook his head. I've survived. That is all. I don't think of myself as a legend. Cyrillith tilted her head slightly, studying him. Legends are often made not by intention, but by action. And your actions, though unknown to you, have already shaped stories across many worlds. Elias felt a strange mix of pride and disbelief. He had fought pirates, survived storms, outsmarted dangerous mercenaries, but to be called a legend by an alien queen? It was almost too much to believe. Before he could speak further, alarms blared through the chamber. The crystal walls pulsed with red light. The Queen's expression hardened. They have come. Elias felt his heart race. Who? The rivals, she replied sharply. A faction within my empire seeks to overthrow me. They will kill anyone in their way, and they do not fear the consequences. Elias glanced at the holographic display in the room. Ships from the rival faction had entered the system. Dark, sleek, and organized with deadly precision. He studied their formations, noticing patterns in their approach. They're not expecting me to react like this, he thought. Maybe I can turn the tide, Cyrillith observed silently. Her thoughts were sharp, precise. I will watch closely, human. Let us see if the stories are true. The Queen moved gracefully to a console, her fingers brushing over controls that Elias could not begin to understand. Yet, despite the alien technology, the principles were universal strategy, observation, adaptation. You have skill beyond expectation, she finally said. Perhaps the legends underestimate you. Elias nodded, feeling a strange connection to the Queen. Her presence was commanding, but not cruel. She valued skill and courage. He realized that, in many ways, she was as remarkable as the stories described humans to be in her world. As the first wave of enemy ships approached the planet, Elias took charge. Using his instincts, he began directing defensive drones, repositioning alien ships, and sending false signals to confuse the attackers. Every move was met with astonishment from the alien operators. They had never seen a human think so quickly, adapt so naturally. The Queen watched closely, her eyes never leaving him. Impressive, she thought. This human can indeed be the one of legend. The enemy fired their first salvo. Energy blasts screamed through the sky, striking alien defenses. But Elias's planning held. Drones intercepted the projectiles, shields absorbed energy, and alien fighters moved in patterns that no one expected. The attackers faltered, confused by the human strategies. Your species is unpredictable, the Queen admitted mentally. I understand why the stories persist. Elias allowed himself a small smile. Sometimes, the unexpected is the only way to survive. After the first wave, the enemy fleet regrouped, preparing a stronger assault. The Queen rose from her throne, moving closer to Elias. You are more than capable, human. But there is more at stake than battle. The Empire itself is in danger. You must understand the politics here. He nodded. Tell me what I need to know. Cyrillith's voice, though silent in words, was clear in thought. She explained that the alien empire had long been threatened by internal factions groups who believed her rule was weak, or that she had grown too distant. These factions had waited for centuries for a chance to seize control. Now, with her attention on diplomatic matters, they saw an opening. And you, she continued, arrived at the perfect moment. The galaxy has chosen you to act. Elias blinked. Chosen me? By whom? By time, fate, and history, she replied. Humans are rare in the galaxy, and when they appear, the universe shifts. You may not believe it, but your presence is already changing the course of events. He hesitated. Humans were clever, yes. They had survived impossible odds. But destiny? That was something else entirely. Still, he could feel the truth in her words. The enemy fleet was advancing. The Empire was at risk. And somehow, he was at the center of it all. Very well, he said finally. Let's see what humans can do. Cyrillith's lips curved slightly, a faint smile. Good. Then act. Elias moved to the central command. The aliens nearby watched with awe as he coordinated the defense. He combined human improvisation with alien technology, using tactics that no alien strategist would have predicted. Enemy ships collided, some were trapped in energy nets, and others were forced to retreat under the pressure of quick, unconventional maneuvers. The Queen watched silently, her thoughts revealing both admiration and curiosity. Perhaps the stories were not exaggeration. This human, he is remarkable. Hours passed, and the battle continued. Elias remained calm, thinking quickly, adapting constantly. The alien fleet around him moved with precision, but the human decisions gave them an edge they had never experienced. Finally, the enemy retreated, their fleet scattered and damaged. The city's alarms fell silent. The Queen's voice reached him in thought, calm but filled with approval. You have done well, human. The Empire owes you more than can be measured. Elias leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. It's only a battle, he said quietly. There will be more. The Queen approached, her golden form radiant in the soft light. She studied him, her gaze piercing yet thoughtful. Perhaps there will be more. And when it comes, the galaxy will know the truth. Humans are not merely clever. They are capable of greatness beyond measure. Elias felt the weight of her words. He had survived countless battles, yet this was different. He was no longer just a pilot. He was a symbol, a living legend, in the eyes of an entire civilization, and he realized that, whether he wanted it or not, the Queen's words were true. Humans had changed the galaxy once, and now they would do it again. The Queen gestured to him, and the corridor shifted, guiding them to a private chamber. There is much you do not yet understand, human. Much of this empire's history, its dangers, its secrets, and much that only you can help us resolve. Elias nodded, feeling both nervous and determined. I'll do what I can. Cyrillith's eyes softened. Good. Then the first lesson begins. To survive, humans must be clever, brave, and, sometimes unpredictable. Just as your species has always been. Elias allowed himself a small smile. For the first time, he began to understand why the aliens had been so hesitant when they first saw him. Humans were more than a species. They were legends in motion. And the galaxy had only just begun to see their power. And if the stories are true, he thought quietly, I may be just the beginning. Outside the chamber, the city sparkled once more, calm after the storm. But both Elias and the Queen knew this was only the start. Rivals lurked, challenges loomed, and the galaxy watched. The legend of the human was real, and it was only growing. The city of crystal and light had returned to a fragile calm, but Captain Elias Ward could feel the tension lingering in the air. Queen Cyrillith had left him to rest briefly, but he knew this peace was only temporary. The rival faction would not give up easily. Already, he could sense whispers in the alien corridors, plots moving like invisible threads through the Empire. Elias walked along one of the palace's reflective halls, studying the shifting walls. Each turn revealed new patterns, unfamiliar technology, and hints of secrets kept for centuries. He had learned quickly that the alien empire was not just powerful, it was complex. Alliances shifted like shadows, and even a small misstep could have deadly consequences. He paused before a large observation window that looked out over the city. The twin suns cast long reflections across the floating spires, and alien ships glided silently between them. For a moment, he allowed himself to imagine what it would be like to be a human among these beings, accepted and respected. Yet even in this quiet, he could feel the weight of expectation pressing on him. Humans were not only legends, they were also unpredictable, and the galaxy was watching. A sudden alert drew his attention. Holographic screens lit up the room, displaying communications intercepted from the rival faction. Their messages were coded, but Elias quickly recognized patterns. They plan an assassination attempt against the Queen herself, he thought grimly. They will strike tonight. He moved to the command console, his fingers flying over the alien controls. Though the interface was unfamiliar, the principles were the same: observation, prediction, and action. He rerouted security drones, repositioned defensive patrols, and sent false signals to mislead the enemy. Every action was precise, yet improvisation remained key. The humans had always relied on thinking differently, on seeing opportunities where others saw danger. As he worked, Queen Cyrillith appeared silently behind him. Her golden form shimmered in the dim light of the command room. "You are bold," she said in thought. Most would have hesitated, unsure of alien technology and customs. Elias shook his head. "I don't hesitate. I just adapt." Cyrillith studied him carefully. Adaptation. That is a human strength. One of many. Yet strength alone does not protect against betrayal. He looked at her, determination in his eyes. "Then we prevent it before it happens." The Queen nodded. "Good. Then let us begin." The first challenge came swiftly. A small team of the rival faction had infiltrated the palace. Bypassing sensors Elias had assumed were foolproof, they moved silently. But humans had learned to read the environment in ways no alien could. Elias anticipated their path, positioning drones and guards in ways that forced the intruders into narrow corridors. When the attackers emerged, Elias acted quickly. He used the palace's energy gates, rerouting them to trap the intruders. The alien guards, initially unsure of his strategy, followed his directions with precision. Within minutes, the intruders were surrounded. Cyrillith observed quietly. "Clever. Humans are indeed unpredictable." Elias allowed himself a small grin. Unpredictability is often the only advantage humans have against overwhelming odds. Even as the palace quieted again, the political danger was far from over. The rival faction was not only aggressive, they were cunning, capable of manipulating entire fleets, entire governments. Elias knew that battles in the sky were one thing. Battles in the minds and hearts of leaders were another entirely. The Queen led him to a private chamber. her expression calm but thoughtful. "There is much you do not yet understand, human. The Empire has long been divided by fear, ambition, and pride. Some wish to overthrow me. Others merely watch, waiting to see who will survive. And you? You are now a factor in this game." Elias nodded. "I understand. But what can I do? I am just a pilot, not a politician." "Your strengths are not of politics," Cyrillith replied. "They are action, courage, strategy. That is why you are here. That is why the galaxy watches humans." He thought for a moment. Humans often succeeded, not by waiting for instructions, but by taking initiative. Perhaps that was what he needed to do now. "Then tell me what you need," he said finally. "I'll do whatever is required." The Queen considered him carefully. "Tonight, the rival faction will strike again. This time, they will aim not just for me, but for the heart of the city. You must act to protect both." Elias swallowed. The stakes had risen. It was no longer a test, it was a battle for survival. "Understood." As night fell over the alien city, the stars reflected in the crystalline spires, casting shadows that seemed alive. Elias moved through the palace, setting defenses, coordinating with the alien operators, and preparing for the assault. He felt the familiar rush of focus that came in the face of danger. Humans thrived under pressure. And tonight would be no different. The first wave of enemy infiltrators arrived silently. They expected fear, confusion, and hesitation. They were met with strategy, precision, and unorthodox thinking. Elias had anticipated their moves, countered their attacks, and used the palace itself as a weapon. Hidden panels, energy barriers, and shifting floors turned the invaders' plans against them. Cyrillith watched from her observation balcony as the battle unfolded. "Remarkable," she thought. "The human moves as if he has fought in this empire for years." Hours passed. The intruders were neutralized, the palace secure, and the rival faction's plans foiled for now. Yet the larger threat remained. They would regroup, and they would strike again. Elias knew this. Humans did not rely solely on luck. They relied on learning from each encounter, improving, adapting. He allowed himself a moment of quiet. Cyrillith approached, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. "You have done more than any of my generals could. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy will test you further." Elias nodded. "Then we meet that test head-on." The Queen studied him closely. "I have observed many species. None have the combination of courage, intelligence, and unpredictability that humans possess. You remind me of why the legends exist." He looked down, humbled. "I am not a legend, just a human trying to do what's right." Cyrillith's eyes glimmered. "Perhaps, but sometimes, the universe requires ordinary beings to achieve extraordinary feats. Tonight, you have done so. Tomorrow may demand even more." Just then, another alert sounded. This time, it was from deep within the Empire's political networks. The rival faction had allies among the counselors, spies embedded for decades. Their reach extended far beyond the city, into the very decisions of the Empire itself. Elias felt a thrill of determination. Humans thrived on challenges, on problems others deemed impossible. "Then we root them out," he thought. One by one. The Queen observed him, silent but approving. "Yes, one by one. And perhaps, with your help, this empire will finally see unity, strength, and clarity it has lacked for centuries." Elias spent the following hours uncovering plots, interrogating captured spies, and devising strategies that combined human ingenuity with alien technology. The palace was alive with activity, a testament to both the Queen's authority and the humans' resourcefulness. By the time dawn approached, the immediate threats had been neutralized. The city of Crystal Spires was safe, the rival factions' plans disrupted, and the Queen's authority reaffirmed. Yet Elias knew the danger was far from over. The galaxy was a vast and unpredictable place, and humans were rare enough that their impact was often immediate and far-reaching. Cyrillith stood beside him on the observation balcony, looking out at the rising suns. "You have proven yourself, human. Not just in battle, but in thought, strategy, and courage." Elias nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "I've done what I can. But the galaxy, it's bigger than any one of us." "Indeed," she replied, "and yet, your presence has changed it already. The legends are not exaggeration. You are extraordinary." For the first time, Elias truly understood the meaning of the stories. Humans were not just capable of surviving, they were capable of shaping entire worlds, entire civilizations, in ways no other species could imagine. "Perhaps the Queen is right," he thought quietly. "Perhaps I am part of something bigger than myself." And as the suns rose over the alien city, casting long reflections across the crystal towers, Elias knew one thing with certainty. The galaxy had only begun to see what humans could do. The alien city was alive with motion. As Captain Elias Ward prepared for the final test, the rival faction had been disrupted, but their reach extended far beyond the palace. Queen Cyrillith's advisors whispered in corridors, and hidden enemies plotted in silence. Elias knew that the galaxy was watching, and humans had earned their reputation as unexpected, unstoppable forces. He moved along the reflective halls of the palace, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known. Humans thrived on challenges, and this was one unlike any he had faced. Every decision mattered. Every action could tip the balance between survival and destruction. Yet he also felt confidence he had learned from each encounter, adapted, and grown stronger. Cyrillith approached him silently, her golden eyes glimmering. "Tonight, the fate of the Empire and perhaps more rests in our hands." Elias nodded. "I'm ready." The Queen led him to the War Council chamber. Holographic displays filled the room with star maps, showing fleets moving across the galaxy. A massive, rogue alien empire had begun mobilizing, seeking to conquer entire systems. They were efficient, ruthless, and far more numerous than anything the alien empire had faced before. "We cannot face them alone," Cyrillith said. "We must unite the factions, rally our fleets, and act decisively. But you will be the key." Elias studied the star maps. The enemy moved quickly, expecting conventional tactics. Humans, however, had always succeeded by being unpredictable, creative, and daring. He began to outline a strategy, combining human improvisation with alien technology. Drones would be used in unexpected formations, energy shields would misdirect the enemy, and ships would strike where no one anticipated. "You truly understand our technology," the Queen said. "And more importantly, you understand strategy beyond our calculations." "Humans are flexible," Elias replied. "We improvise when the unexpected happens." The Council of Alien Leaders watched in silence, some skeptical, some curious. But as Elias spoke, outlining his plan with clarity and confidence, their doubt began to fade. There was a new force in the galaxy, a force no one could have predicted: humans. The battle began as the rogue empire's fleet entered the system. Energy beams lit up the void, and ships collided in intricate patterns. Elias moved among the controls, directing ships and drones with precision. Alien admirals followed his commands, astonished by the innovative maneuvers. In one daring move, Elias directed a squadron of small, human-designed craft through narrow asteroid corridors, flanking the enemy and disabling their command ships. The rogue fleet faltered, unable to anticipate human ingenuity. "Extraordinary," Cyrillith thought. "The stories are true. Humans are as legendary as history claims." Hours passed, and the tide of battle shifted. The rogue empire was forced to retreat, scattered and damaged. The alien empire had survived, united for the first time in generations. And at the heart of it all was a human, the human of legend. Cyrillith turned to Elias, her gaze both proud and thoughtful. "You have done more than any could have imagined. You have not only saved my empire, but you have changed its very nature. Humans, you inspire strength where doubt once ruled. Elias felt a quiet satisfaction. I only did what I could. Humans, we survive, we adapt, and we fight. But it's the combined effort that matters. Your empire is strong because of its people, not just because of me. Perhaps, she replied softly. But humans awaken potential that others cannot see. That is why legends speak of you. The council leaders bowed in acknowledgement, recognizing the humans' achievements. For the first time, aliens who had doubted humans now understood the truth. Humans were capable of feats beyond imagination, combining courage, creativity, and determination. Days passed as the empire rebuilt, strengthened by the alliances forged through Elias's strategies. Rival factions were reconciled or removed, and the queen's rule solidified. Elias remained at her side, not as a soldier or pilot, but as a symbol, a living legend of what humanity could achieve. Finally, Cyrillith summoned Elias to the throne room. She approached him, her golden form glowing softly. Human, you have proven the stories correct. You are not only a pilot, not only a warrior, but the human of legend. The galaxy will remember you. Elias bowed slightly. I never sought legend. I only sought to survive and do what was right. And that, she said, her voice like a melody in his mind, is why you are legendary. Outside, the alien city shimmered under twin suns, reflecting the unity and strength born of courage, ingenuity, and determination. Humans had arrived not just as explorers, but as symbols of possibility. Where others saw fear, humans saw opportunity. Where others saw obstacles, humans saw challenges to overcome. And in doing so, they inspired not only their own kind, but entire civilizations across the stars. Elias looked out at the city, the fleets returning to orbit, and the citizens celebrating the victory. He realized that humans had a place in the galaxy, not merely as survivors, but as leaders, innovators, and legends. Perhaps this is only the beginning, he thought quietly. The galaxy will need humans again, and we will be ready. Cyrillith's thoughts reached him, gentle yet firm. You are not just a human of legend, Elias Ward. You are a bridge between worlds. The galaxy will look to humanity with respect, admiration, and hope. And your story will be told for generations. Elias allowed himself a small smile. He had never imagined this path, never sought to become a symbol. Yet here he was, standing beside a queen, having changed the course of an empire, and proven the legends true. The suns rose higher, casting golden light across the crystal towers. The city was alive, vibrant, and unified. For the first time, Elias understood the full weight of the queen's words. Humanity was more than survival. It was possibility, courage, and legend. And in that moment, he knew one thing for certain. The galaxy had seen the rise of humans, and there would be no turning back. Stories would spread, alliances would form, and civilizations would remember the deeds of a single human who had arrived in the right place, at the right time, and proven that the legends were real. The queen whispered once more, softly, almost in awe. So the stories were true. You are the human of legend. Elias looked out across the galaxy, feeling both the weight of expectation and the thrill of possibility. The legends were no longer stories. They were real, and humanity, through courage, intelligence, and determination, had finally claimed its place among the stars. The galaxy had changed forever.